Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? I have another topic and it is perfectionism. I've written a few words to it. Perfectionism doesn't leave any room for growth. Perfectionism goes against your natural flow. Perfectionism is insecurity hidden behind fanatic control. Perfectionism lets you think that you actually know, but you only know once you went through some growth. For me, it's a very interesting topic because the industry, for example, that I'm working in, or also used to work in for some time, it's one where you are a lot in front of the camera. I was on sets for music video shootings. I was in front of the camera for model shoots as well. I was also behind the camera and organizing, video shoots, organizing, bringing the people together, looking at the locations, etc., etc. I was as well in the event management area where we organize concerts or dance battles or parties, and everything has its plan, everything has its idea which you want to unfold during the night, during that music video shooting, etc., right? So everyone has its certain timing and certain flow to come in, how the model is supposed to look, where they're supposed to stand, so that the videographer can move, how can he move, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things going on, yeah. And one thing that was and is always very important for me personally is more the experience that we create, and to be able to create experience which is fruitful, where we are feeling comfortable on set or also behind the scenes, even though it's stressful sometimes, yeah. But if I would go in there thinking about being perfect, having that perfect day planned out from my side, yeah, not allowing things to also unfold and come in from outside and bring their own type of flavor, then I would stunt my own growth. Everything would turn uneasy on set, uneasy, later behind the scenes as well. It doesn't mean nothing can go wrong. But when you go at it with perfectionism, it means that the flexibility to leave room for that growth, yeah, those mistakes, those times to really be able to solve when there's a problem. You won't allow it because you have planned it so perfectly that nothing should go wrong. But when you are a good manager, doesn't matter if it's an event or managing an artist or music video or whatever, right? If you manage something, you can see so far and know there are always some certain things that you cannot influence. And you trust in yourself that no matter what comes, that you can handle it. That's why I said perfectionism is insecurity hidden behind fanatic control. If you are secure in yourself, you plan in the way that, all right, for example, the artist is supposed to come at 9 p.m. Then there's an opening act at 8. That opening act is going to be on stage for like 30 minutes. There's room before the act comes on stage, and there's room after the act is done. If you're perfect, you don't leave room, because perfectionism doesn't leave room for mistakes. It's like raising flowers that are raised by the man's hands. Every flower looks exactly the same. But this is not how it is in nature. From the same family, no tree, no flower looks exactly the same and is still perfect. But one flower is supposed to grow to the left, another one is supposed to go to the right. That is like where you allow some natural flow to come in. The only thing that you maybe do is you give it a little bit of direction, just so that it will not overgrow another plant and take the sun away from it, right? And when you plant things, when you do anything that you do, if you trust in yourself that you're equipped to handle anything that comes from outside, you will start to be more relaxed when you go after your goals. Because you trust in yourself that I am on a steady flow, and certain things need to happen for me to grow. Perfectionism keeps you in your comfort zone. That is the thing with perfectionism. That's why it is stunting your growth. Because everything outside that comfort zone is not perfect. Not at all. You don't know what is coming. You don't know what is coming. You can only plan as far as you have known from your previous experiences. That's all that you can do. When you manage, for example, and you had certain mistakes that happened before, what do? You usually reflect and make sure those mistakes are being written down somewhere, so that for the next time you can look at it. If something like that happens again, that you know, okay, what was it actually that we did the last time? Because something like that happened already. So what did we actually do? So that we make sure that we don't repeat it again. And when we plan those things in. So you take that knowledge from last time to the future, to that now present. And that's where you are allowed to have this growth which you need, which every one of us needs. But you also have the beautiful experience where everyone comes in their craft, with their experience. And then from there, you have a very let me say, harmonized togetherness, for that day. I mean, usually after every shooting, what happens, everyone goes home. I mean, you're not necessarily friends, but for that time, you came together under one thing, to have a very good music video, to have a good experience together, to give your best. Still, perfectionism has not necessarily to do with giving your best. The thought that you have behind it when you go and plan something, the intentions is what counts. That's when you will not be so disappointed. Because this is what comes with perfectionism. You will be so disappointed when something doesn't turn out well. And I tell you that from experience. Because when I started in this event management industry and music video industry, etc., when I started in it, I was like 21, something like that. When I started with World Afro Dance, for example, the World Afro Dance Championships, I then turned 22, and I had the idea I was around 21, turned 22 when I started to implement it, And for me, I wanted to have that perfect thing, but I didn't even have the experience to make it near perfect. So of course, there were a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that I wished I knew before. But of course, where am I supposed to take that type of knowledge in? I needed those mistakes or those happenings, not necessarily mistakes. It's just certain things that you cannot influence. Because a picture has many, many little parts. And you don't necessarily plan this completely alone. Others come in as well with their experience, like I said. And you have to allow them to assist you. And then you will be more relaxed as well. Because everyone knows, of course, we all come in with good intentions. We want the viewer to have a good experience. And at the end, this is what counts. And if the people go out and say, wow, thank you, then it doesn't matter anymore when it was burning behind the scenes. It doesn't matter because you handled it. You trusted in yourself. It was not about perfectionism. And during my time when the World Afro Dance Championships took place, during that time, there was a lot of things going on. I had to go to this hotel, take care of the dancers there. Then I had to go to the venue, check on the venue there. And the teams there were, of course, split in different areas. Some took care of the dancers, some were at the venue, took care there. But I myself had to make sure, okay, I have my brain and I have my heart with me so that I can ease the situation a bit when the people were already already with their energy quite high and didn't know what to do, etc. It would have been helpful for me to be stressed as well, right? So I just took those situations and said, okay, this is something where I now can grow and make sure next time I organize it a bit differently for them, or for all of us, to not maybe have it so stressful, you know. But I wasn't too harsh on myself then. You know, I learned afterwards, like, oh, it's fine. You are only 22 years old. Don't be so hard on yourself. That was the first time that you did something like that. And people came together. Not everything was perfect, right? But at the present, the moment, they enjoyed themselves. They danced, they battled, they were so happy. And this is what I took. This is what I took. And this is something that I know nobody can take from me. Because it's easy, of course, to criticize if you have not had your hands in this. That's easy. Then everyone can talk. But if you had your hands in there and you saw the blood, the sweat you put in there, the tears, the money, everything, you know, so that it turns out to something good for the people, then you will forgive yourself in a lot of things and see like, I don't need perfectionism. I need to have and make sure that there's a good experience at the end. Because how should I know if I don't go through it? We are all smarter at the end of the journey. At the end of the goal, then we know. Otherwise, what do we actually know? What do you know? And for me, this is a very, I take it as a very humbling experience. And it allowed me to work with my flow, but it also allowed me to work with God more together. Because God has His plans. You have your plan, you want to have it turn out in that way, but God sees more than you can see. The Spirit sees more and says, oh, this is what you need. Some things you want, but it's not what you really need in order to really get what you want. That's why I'm just telling you for this time. In the future, what counts is your intention, your heart behind it, not your perfectionism because you want to look a certain way for the people. Everyone comes with their own eyes and everyone decides themselves if they found it good or not. It's not your decision to make. That's all. That's all. And if there's someone who didn't find it good, then they had their reasons, and that's also fine. You can take that even and say, all right, let me take it. Let me see, maybe next time I can do something about it for you. Or not. You know, because we are not out here people pleasing. All right, we are never out here people pleasing, all right, because we know where our heart is. God knows our heart, so we just make sure we do what we are called to do. And perfectionism is people pleasing. It takes that energy out, but you need to keep it in you so that you can put it where it's really needed. Not with nagging, criticizing, overly criticizing people who have maybe never put nothing in that, yeah, and would never do the same thing that you have done if you have started something at a very young age, you know. So now, when I look at my 22-year-old self and 28, I'm now 28 years. I'm like, wow, clap for myself. Give me that shoulder, shoulder clap. Yes, I can do that. I've done it before and I was so young. Look, it is well. And this is what perfectionism takes away. Perfectionism doesn't allow you to say, yes, thank you, you did well, It doesn't give you that acknowledgement because it will dissect you. Perfectionism, you dissect yourself. You finish yourself off. For what? For who? But if you're secure in yourself, you say, yes, I needed that maybe. I grew from it. I learned from it. I cannot, foresee everything. If it's perfect, why am I still doing it? If it's perfect, then I don't need to move. Then I can stay in my comfort zone. It's perfect, right? What am I even doing? Why am I even walking? It's contradicting. So in the future, we thrive for fruitful experiences with good intentions and for growth, because that's where we are then. In the unknown, we grow. All right? Okay, then God bless you and take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.